Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about foundation. Specifically, I'm going to be sharing my top 5 favorite foundations at the moment. I say at the moment, but I really don't change out my favorites very often. The last time I did this video was about 2 years ago, and 2 of the foundations that are on my current list were on that list as well. So these aren't ones that I've just tried once or twice. These are ones that I have put through the ringer. I've worn most of them through a whole year of different seasons, different changing skin, different conditions of weather. So these are ones that personally I feel like are tried and true and are my go-tos. Now, a little bit about my skin. I'm 45, so I'm in the younger but still the mature age category. I do have combination to more oily in the summertime skin, so I do have to watch certain types of foundations. I don't want them to be too hydrating, but if you're a dry skin person, don't let that scare you off, because several of the foundations I've selected actually will work well for you too. The other thing is I do have enlarged pores. I have texture. I have some old acne scarring. I do have deep lines in my forehead. And so I do have a lot of textural issues. Now, the other thing though is I think a foundation should be able to stand on its own without a primer. So all 5 of these foundations look amazing, and I actually prefer them without any kind of primer. However, I do prep my skin with moisturizer and a tinted sunscreen. If you haven't seen my skincare routine, I'll list that up and in the description box. Now, while I do not use a primer, I do always set my foundation with a powder. I have used various powders with all of these foundations. I feel like they work well. A couple of my favorite powders are the Too Faced Peach Perfect Mattifying Loose Powder, the Becca Hydro Mist powder, which is going to be soon discontinued, but that is another love. I've also recently been trying the Nakia Joy setting powder, and all of those work well with these foundations. And then the final thing is I do not use a setting spray on a normal basis. However, there is one foundation that the setting spray does make a difference, and I will notate that. So let's go ahead now and jump into this list. As I list them, I really have not put them in ranking order as far as, number 5, 4, 3, except for the top 2. I would say the top 2 are really my number 1, 2, and really are almost tied for first place. But the other 3, I will interchange pretty regularly, and I don't really have a preference of one over the other. All right, so let's jump in. The first foundation I'm gonna share with you is the EX1 Invisiwear foundation. This is one that was on my previous list. I have used this foundation for years. Now, this foundation comes in a plastic bottle. It has an airless pump that goes up as you use the product. It's all plastic. It looks nice, and it does the job. It's not real super expensive packaging, but it does a good job. It normally does come with a cap as well. This comes in 17 shades, so it is the least number of shades out of all of the foundations I'll share with you. And the one drawback is the shades are definitely more geared towards yellow undertone or olive undertone skins. And also this foundation range, I feel like they have quite a number of foundations more in the deeper range. So if you are mid-tone to deep skin tone, this is definitely one to check out. Now, the coverage level on this, I feel like, is medium to full. This is actually the foundation that I am wearing today, and I did not go back in with specific concealer to conceal my dark spot. I feel like it disguises it pretty well. The texture on it, though, is very light, almost gel-like in consistency. And so I feel like it's very light feeling on the skin, and yet it really almost just floats over the skin, floats over those imperfections, and really makes the skin look nice and even and smooth. So I really feel like this is on the verge of a full coverage foundation if you want it to be. It has no SPF, so that's something to keep in mind. The wear time on this for me as a combination girl is 8+ hours. So I can definitely get away with it longer. I just usually need to blot my skin or powder, but it's not breaking down after 8 hours, but it does get quite shiny. I would say for skin type of this foundation, it works well for me, but I think it's especially wonderful if you have normal to dry skin, as this does have a slightly luminous finish. It does not have any shimmer particles or anything like that. It's not overly dewy and tacky, but it is definitely one that I like to powder, and my favorite powder is the Becca Hydro Mist powder with this foundation. Now on the website, it says it expertly conceals imperfections. The luminous foundation is formulated with true color pigments and light diffusers that work in harmony with your skin's natural tone, unifying and perfecting to leave skin flawless and youthful looking. Lightweight and ultra blendable, expect a smooth and radiant complexion. And I think that describes it perfectly. It does have a nice, gentle kind of luminosity, but again, not overly dewy or tacky. Now this one retails for around $17. So the one caveat of this foundation, the reason why I say around $17, is it is available only across the pond. So you do have to order this online from lookfantastic.com. But if you're in the US, depending on the pounds to dollars exchange rate, the price on this can vary just slightly, but it's around $17. It is 30 mils or basically 1 ounce of product. So I really enjoy this foundation. This one that I am wearing today, I have mostly shade 4.0 with just a little bit of 2.0 mixed in. So I will leave for this foundation and each foundation I'm sharing which colors I wear in the description box below. And my favorite application tool with this foundation is a brush. And I like a brush like this one or the BK Beauty 101. Forgive my brushes, they're gonna all be dirty, but it's because I've been using them and haven't had time to wash them. So this is the BK Beauty 101. This is the Sedona Lace 520. These brushes I feel like work best. They are dense, but still the bristles are soft. They have give to them. So it's not a super stiff, dense brush, but they're soft enough. And I feel like it allows you to just press that foundation and glide it over your skin. So overall, a great foundation. And again, I feel like this one works for all skin types, but if you are normal to dry, I think you would especially love this. All right, next up, we have the famous, I'm sure you've heard about this foundation, the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue Moisturizing Makeup. And it doesn't say foundation, but it is, in my frame of thinking, more of a foundation than a CC cream. It does have broad spectrum SPF 45, so I love that about this. It's available in 28 shades, so a pretty broad range, and the coverage level I feel like is medium to nearly full. Now this is one of those foundations that I like to apply if I want more of a sheer coverage, and I did this in a recent mature skin makeover video. I applied it with a damp sponge. That is going to give you more of a light to medium coverage level. If you want more full coverage, I love using a very dense brush like this one to apply. This is the Sedona Lace 480. It's rounded but super dense. And unlike the other brush, this one doesn't have as much give in the bristles. And I feel like that really helps you get the most coverage from that. Wear time on this foundation for me is 8+ hours. I can get more. I will be shiny at the end of 8 hours, but again, it's not breaking down. A little powder or just some blotting, and that really helps. This one does have a scent to it. It is kind of a cucumber type scent. It's not offensive and it doesn't break me out, but it is something to be aware of. It retails for $45. It does have a pump and it is 1.2 ounces. So for 35 mils of product. So that's a little more than your standard foundation is. Now on the website, it says that this foundation is a moisturizing makeup infused with ion charged water plus probiotic technology and chia seed extract. It says it is a buildable medium to full coverage, which I would agree with. It's a lightweight formula, immediately even skin tone, covers redness, dark spots, and imperfections. Rescue skin with soothing, plumping hydration. It's natural looking makeup that lights skin with an instant radiant glow that lasts 12 hours. So again, I feel like this one for me is 8+. I do feel like if you have drier skin, you're gonna get longer wear out of this. Now, as far as skin preparation, if you have dry skin, you are still going to need to go in with moisturizer under this one. I feel like even on my kind of oily combination skin, a little bit of moisturizer underneath helps it just smooth on and glide on the skin a little bit better. Now, this foundation is quite watery, so that can make you think that it's not going to have a lot of coverage, but it definitely does. I have the shade 1W2 Sand. It is a really good match for me when my sunless tanner is slightly faded. I could probably stand to get a slightly deeper shade for the summer. But overall, another one that I feel like disguises imperfections. I don't feel like it emphasizes texture on the skin. And this one in particular, I think looks really pretty, really beautiful on camera, in videos, in photos. So another great one. All right, next up is a foundation that was immediately a big hit among the mature skin YouTubers, and that is IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better Foundation Plus Skincare. Now, I have tried almost all of IT Cosmetics CC creams or their foundation type products. So I was excited to give this one a try. I was a little surprised though that this one contains 0 SPF. So that's something to keep in mind. It is very different than their CC cream, which has SPF 50. Now this one does come in a whopping 40 shades, so it does really encompass pretty much every skin tone and depth of color. The coverage level is, in my opinion, medium to buildable, almost to full coverage. And it wears on me for about 8+ hours. I'm pretty shiny at 8 hours, but again, it's not breaking down and I can still powder or blot and make it last longer. My favorite application tool with this foundation for sure is the BK Beauty 101. That give in the bristles and yet denseness, I think, is what this foundation needs. I love to kind of just press it into the skin and then buff over it, and I just think that works really well. Now, I feel like this foundation in particular works even better if you have normal to dry skin. However, as an oily combination girl, I feel like this works well. I do need to powder it, and this is the one foundation that needs a setting spray. Specifically, the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Setting Spray. I am not a setting spray fan in general, and usually they just don't make that big of a difference. But this setting spray with this foundation made all the difference in the world. Up until trying it with a setting spray, I was about to say this was not a good foundation. But with that setting spray, all of a sudden I had beautiful wear time for a whole day. Now on the website, it says it's suitable for all skin types and infused with hyaluronic acid, aloe vera extract, plus vitamin E and B5. Your skin-loving, lightweight foundation goes beyond a tinted moisturizer by working behind the scenes as you wear it. So the plus skincare part of this foundation is supposed to improve your skin over time. That part of it, I don't really know that I saw much of a difference over time, but I do feel like it does look very beautiful on the skin. And even though it does have that radiant finish, which if you hold the bottle up to the light, you can see almost like this gold glow in the foundation, but on your skin, you're not going to see any shimmer particles or anything. But I do feel like that actually helps disguise some of the imperfections in the skin rather than emphasizing it. So this one retails for $39.50. Again, you're getting 1 ounce or 30 mils of product. It does have a pump and it's in a nice glass bottle. So a really good quality and good for your skin foundation. All right, now it's time for my top two. And as I said at the beginning, these two in my mind are pretty much tied at first for me, my favorite. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and jump in first with the KVD True Portrait Foundation. This one is unlike any foundation that I own or have ever tried. So what is unique about this foundation? It has a shaker ball in it, which I think people don't like that about this packaging. We'll talk about that in a moment, but it does have a shaker ball in it because this foundation is basically like water. So it comes with this bottle that has hard plastic, but then it has this squeeze tube. So you squeeze it out and literally you go kind of by drops. So rather than by pump, you're measuring it out in drops. It is basically like water. However, one drop of this foundation gives you nearly full coverage, and yet it feels absolutely like you have nothing on your skin. So it's truly unique in that aspect of it. Now, it does come again in 40 shades. I think that's pretty amazing. Again, I feel like this is medium to full coverage. I'll talk a little bit about how I like to apply this. There is no SPF in this. Wear time for me is easily 10 plus hours. So about the 10-hour mark, I feel like for me, I may be looking a little bit shiny through the T-zone. This foundation is geared more towards normal to oily skin types. However, I have a couple of friends that have dry skin that live in a dry climate. They have tried it and it actually works very well for them. Just make sure you moisturize well underneath. Now, what it says on the website about this foundation is pretty interesting. It says its innovative liquid to powder foundation formula features exclusive elastic essence effect, a blend of powders with a flexible elastic core to help prevent cracking and caking. With a large surface area, these hybrid powders act like a sponge to help absorb excess oil without creating flashback effect. Long lasting, yet with an incredible weightless feel, this foundation sets to a beautiful long wear, airy matte finish, ideal for normal to oily skin types. It helps control shine so you can create ideal canvas for any look every day. I think all of those claims are true. And I think that powder in there is what you feel on your skin. So unlike all the rest of these foundations, basically, when you blend it into your skin, you can go back and touch your face and it literally almost feels like you have powdered your skin. There's no tackiness left over and you truly feel like you are not wearing any foundation. And yet your skin looks perfected. This glides over pores and imperfections like no other foundation. I just absolutely love this. Now, I'm a little afraid that this foundation might be being discontinued because Ulta and Sephora are kind of getting rid of their inventory. It is still fully available on the KVD website, but it's marked down half price. So original retail price is $36 on this for 1 ounce or 30 mils. But right now, as of this video, it's $18. So I have backups stocked in my cupboard because I never want to be without this foundation. It is that good. Now, my favorite way to apply this foundation is with a dense brush. You can use a sponge as well, but I feel like the dense brush allows you to get maximum coverage and maximum spread of this foundation. You do kind of want to work in one area at a time because of that powder. It does dry down quickly, but this is one that I can use 5 drops if I want more full coverage, or what I've done this summer when I want just a little extra, I will go in with a CC cream or DD cream and add maybe 3 drops for my entire face and blend it in, and it just makes the skin look flawless and like you're not wearing foundation. So again, in my top 2 for sure, and I'm really hoping they don't discontinue it. All right, and the final one is another one that has been on my list for quite some time, and it is the Bareminerals Bare Pro Liquid Foundation. This is available in 35 shades. It is a full coverage foundation, but you can make it lighter weight. I'll tell you how in a moment. It does have broad spectrum SPF 20. It comes in this really nice glass bottle with a cap and a pump. Now, one thing about this pump, it does have a lock on it, which is very nice, but for whatever reason, this pump really does kind of tend to get clogged. So it's not perfect, even though it's a pump. You would think it would be perfect, but sometimes you can pump it out and, foundation will spray out. So just be aware of that. But it is, once again, a very liquidy, almost watery type consistency. And yet, as you're blending it out, you can feel that kind of little bit of dimethicone in there. So you can feel that it has a little more thickness than the KVD Portrait Foundation. It does, though, I think, make the skin just look smooth, perfected. It does not emphasize pores and lines. The other amazing thing, and I don't really hear a lot of people talk about this, is this actually does have skin perfecting ingredients in it. And I personally do feel like I see some of those benefits when I use it successively several days in a row, several weeks at a time. So it says that it blurs pores and imperfections while improving the appearance of skin texture over time. So that part I agree with. With 24-hour wear in a range of natural matte finishes, it works and plays as hard as you do. Just one pump delivers lightweight, oil-free, photo-friendly, full coverage, Bare Pro Performance Liquid Wear. Now, on the website, it says it has a 24-hour wear time. I don't know about 24 hours, but it is definitely my longest wearing foundation. So if I need a foundation for 12 plus hours, this is my choice of foundation. Not only does it stay in place all day with a little bit of shine breakthrough that I can just, powder in the T-zone, but it also keeps your blush, your bronzer, anything that you put on top of it, it also grabs and holds onto that product as well. So it is definitely by far the longest wearing foundation that I own or have ever used. Now on the website, it describes it as having a natural matte finish, which I fully agree. It says that it has a mineral lock long wear technology that blends mineral pigments with lipids naturally found in skin to lock in all day full coverage. Natural bamboo stem extract provides a smooth, soft focus finish, while papaya enzymes gently improve skin's texture both immediately and over time. This self-setting foundation is transfer resistant and color true. So I would say all of those things are what I have experienced with this foundation. So even though I do have oily skin and I feel like this is probably geared a little more for those of us who are combo oily, because it's self-setting, if you have dry skin, you probably won't need to use powder at all with it. I do still use powder, but no setting spray. And I just feel like it looks beautiful on the skin. And again, I do feel like over time, I do see improvement in my skin texture. Now this one retails for $35. And again, you are getting 1 ounce and 30 mils of product. Now, some people might ask, and I've talked about this before, how does it compare to Estee Lauder Double Wear? Because I know that is most people's holy grail long wear foundation. I have to say I love this way more than Estee Lauder Double Wear. In fact, I tried Estee Lauder Double Wear again, probably about 6 months ago, and returned it. I did not like how it looked on my skin at all. So I feel like this just really is very forgiving on the skin. I do have friends who are dry skin in dry climate that love this. So you're definitely gonna need to make sure you put your moisturizer on, but it's not drying and yet it does not look heavy. Now my favorite application tool with this foundation actually is a sponge. So if I want more of a medium coverage, I use a damp sponge like a beauty blender or this beauty sponge. If I want more full coverage, I still prefer the Stands Out sponge to a dense brush, but you can use a dense brush with it, but because you use this sponge dry, you get more coverage than with a damp sponge, but yet I feel like it still makes the skin look airbrushed and flawless. And the final thing about Bare Pro that I would just like to say is this is the foundation that I receive the most compliments from you all when I am wearing it in a video. So many of you will comment, what foundation are you wearing? What foundation? And most times it is the Bare Pro foundation. So that wraps up this video. If you have been on the hunt for a new foundation, hopefully that information that I provided today will be helpful to you. As always, I will list and link all of the products that I talked about today in the description box below. And I will, as I mentioned earlier, also include the shades that I wear. And if they're deeper shades, those are my summer shades. The lighter shades are my winter shades. I know some of you laugh about that, but if you're not a sunless tanner or you don't tan in the summer, you don't need 2 shades. But I keep a pretty dark sunless tan through the summer, and so that's why I need multiple shades. But thank you as always so much for watching. Be sure you're subscribed and give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye.